A silent, unmarked satellite drifts high above the Earth. What if our planet already has a navy patrolling the stars? This is the core of the Solar Warden Program, a jaw-dropping conspiracy theory alleging a secret global alliance operates a fleet of advanced spacecraft for interstellar defense. By the end of this investigation, you will have the framework to separate credible clues from pure science fiction. We will uncover the hacker who stumbled upon a list of non-terrestrial officers and examine the whistleblowers who say they served on a secret Mars base. The truth is hidden between official denials and incredible testimonies. What does it mean for humanity if we are not alone in the cosmos? One man's search for hidden energy technology would accidentally give this secret a name. In the early 2000s, a Scottish systems administrator named Gary McKinnon, driven by a belief that governments were suppressing free energy from UFOs, began a series of audacious hacks into United States military and NASA networks. His methods were surprisingly simple, exploiting lax security on machines that were not even protected by passwords. For nearly 2 years, he scanned through thousands of documents, searching for his elusive proof. Then he stumbled upon something entirely unexpected. On a computer belonging to the United States Space Command, he found a file that would become the cornerstone of the entire Solar Warden legend. The heading read, Non-Terrestrial Officers. Below it was a list of names, ranks, and something even more peculiar, a detailed log of ship-to-ship transfers. He described finding a separate spreadsheet, its title stark and unambiguous, fleet-to-fleet transfers. This was not a single vessel, but an entire naval operation in space. McKinnon was not looking for a secret space navy, but he believed he had found its personnel records. The legal consequences for his discovery were swift and severe. The United States government accused him of committing the biggest military computer hack of all time and began a long, determined effort to extradite him to face trial. For years, McKinnon fought the extradition, with his case becoming a cause célèbre and drawing support from those who saw him not as a criminal, but as an accidental whistleblower. It was through this legal battle and the subsequent media frenzy that the public first heard the name Solar Warden, a term pulled from the digital shadows and given to this alleged fleet. His story provides a human face to the mystery, a man who reached into the digital unknown and pulled back a secret he never intended to find. While Gary McKinnon found digital breadcrumbs, other individuals stepped out of the shadows to offer first-hand accounts. These whistleblowers claim to have not just seen files, but to have lived the reality of Solar Warden. Their testimonies paint a picture of a program so vast it defies conventional understanding. One of the most prominent figures was a man named William Tompkins, a respected aerospace engineer who worked with major corporations like Douglas Aircraft. Late in his life, Tompkins published a book titled Selected by Extraterrestrials, where he made astonishing claims. He stated that in the 1950s, he was part of a secret think tank tasked with designing kilometer-long spacecraft for a clandestine naval program. These were not small shuttles, but colossal capital ships intended for interstellar travel and defense. His designs, he alleged, were based on extraterrestrial technology that was being reverse engineered. Then there is the enigmatic case of a man known only by the pseudonym Captain K. His story, if true, pushes the boundaries of the conspiracy even further. Captain K claimed he was not a paper pusher or an engineer, but a frontline soldier. He stated he served for 20 years not on Earth, but on a secret military base on Mars. He identified himself as a Marine for something called the Earth Defense Force, a supposed branch of this secret space fleet. His duty, he said, was to protect the base from hostile indigenous life forms. The idea of a human soldier fighting a decades-long, clandestine war on another planet is almost beyond comprehension, yet his detailed testimony has captivated many. When you line up these disparate accounts, certain common threads begin to emerge, weaving a consistent, if unbelievable, narrative. Both Tompkins and other insiders frequently describe a specific type of craft, massive triangular vessels often referred to as alien reproduction vehicles or ARV. The concept is that these are not alien ships themselves, but human-built copies, reverse-engineered from captured or gifted technology. These ARVs are consistently described as silent, capable of incredible speeds and maneuvers that defy our known laws of physics. The other powerful commonality is the theme of a long-running, hidden conflict. The stories are not about peaceful exploration, but of a multi-decade, even multi-generational, off-world struggle against an unknown adversary. This paints a picture of a secret, ongoing war in space, one that the public has been completely unaware of for generations. So we are left with a critical question. Are these individuals revealing a profound, hidden truth about humanity's place in the cosmos, or are they simply telling elaborate, coordinated science fiction stories? The answer lies somewhere in the space between their incredible claims and the complete absence of any official proof. The official response to these incredible claims has been a wall of uniform denial. When asked about Solar Warden, representatives from NASA and the United States Department of Defense give the same simple answer: no such program exists. For every whistleblower story, there is an official statement dismissing it as pure fantasy. Skeptics propose far more mundane explanations for what people like Gary McKinnon actually discovered. That list of non-terrestrial officers could have been a personnel roster for a complex military simulation, a war game played out in a virtual space. The ship-to-ship transfers might have been logistical data for routine satellite operations or the movement of crews between ground-based command centers. In the world of top-secret projects, what looks like a space fleet could easily be records for a highly classified, but entirely earthly, program. A common candidate offered is the X-37B spaceplane, an unmanned, reusable spacecraft operated by the United States Space Force. It is real, it is secretive, but it is a single, small orbital vehicle, not a vast interstellar navy. The sheer scale of the Solar Warden allegation is its greatest vulnerability when facing skeptical scrutiny. Building and crewing kilometer-long spacecraft in secret would be an undertaking dwarfing the Apollo program, requiring the silent cooperation of thousands of people and an unimaginable amount of resources, all without a single definitive leak. This leads us to the powerful concept of plausible deniability. In intelligence circles, this is the practice of keeping senior officials intentionally unaware of sensitive operations, allowing them to deny knowledge truthfully. For a program alleged to be as deep and old as Solar Warden, this veil of secrecy would need to be nearly absolute. This is where the shadowy world of black budget funding comes into play. These are enormous sums of money allocated for classified projects, with their true purpose hidden even from most members of Congress. The budget for the United States intelligence community is measured in tens of billions of dollars annually, a vast and mostly unaccountable river of cash. Could a secret space program be hidden within this financial black hole? It is a theoretical possibility, a place where the rules of conventional oversight simply do not apply. So we are left with two competing realities. In one, brave individuals have stepped forward to reveal humanity's greatest secret. In the other, they are either misinterpreting mundane data or perpetuating an elaborate myth. The truth seems to hinge on a single, profound question. Is the official denial a simple statement of fact, or is it the necessary, rehearsed line meant to protect the most monumental secret in human history? The silence from official channels is deafening, but it tells us nothing conclusive. To find a better answer, we must look beyond individual testimonies and search for the physical evidence, for the strange objects in our skies that might just be the ships of this phantom fleet. The ships described by whistleblowers are not merely advanced, they are architectural marvels that redefine our entire concept of a vessel. This alleged fleet is said to be structured with a clear military hierarchy, much like a traditional navy, but operating in the void of space. At the smallest end are the scout craft, often described as sleek, triangular vehicles nicknamed alien reproduction vehicles. These are the eyes and ears of the fleet, silent and agile, capable of atmospheric entry and extraordinary maneuvers. Then you have the cruisers, the workhorses of the operation, possibly several hundred meters long, tasked with longer-range patrols and tactical engagements. But the true titans of this phantom navy are the battlecruisers. Whistleblowers like William Tompkins spoke of designing kilometer-long leviathans, ships so vast they could only be constructed in space. One class is frequently named by insiders, the SSN Alexandria. The designation SSN itself is telling, echoing the United States Navy's codes for nuclear-powered attack submarines, suggesting a silent, predatory role in the deep black. These ships are not just big, they are floating cities, armed and armored for interstellar conflict. Their method of travel is what truly separates them from anything in the public domain. The propulsion systems attributed to these vessels sound like pure science fiction. They are said to utilize anti-gravity or electrogravitic drives. In simple terms, this technology supposedly manipulates gravity itself, creating a field around the ship that allows it to negate Earth's pull and achieve incredible speeds. This is not the fiery thrust of a rocket, but a silent, shimmering distortion of space. Some accounts go even further, suggesting these drives enable faster-than-light travel, bending the fabric of spacetime to cross interstellar distances in a heartbeat. The energy required for such a feat would be monumental, far beyond our current public understanding of physics, and a ship of war needs weapons to match its scale. The alleged armaments of the Solar Warden fleet are just as staggering. Instead of bullets and missiles, whistleblowers describe directed energy weapons. Think of a laser, but infinitely more powerful, capable of slicing through armor with pinpoint accuracy across thousands of kilometers. They also speak of plasma cannons, weapons that fire contained balls of superheated, energized gas, like miniature suns hurled at a target, impacting with the force of a tactical nuclear weapon, but without the radioactive fallout. When you look at computer-generated mock-ups based on these descriptions, the ships often appear as angular, dark structures, bristling with mysterious emitters and panels, a stark contrast to the white, fragile-looking modules of the International Space Station. The difference is not just one of design, but of fundamental purpose. One is for peaceful exploration and research. The other, if the stories are true, is built for dominion and defense on a cosmic scale. These visualizations, while speculative, give a chilling form to the words of the whistleblowers. They make the unbelievable suddenly, terrifyingly tangible. So if these ships are real, where are they being built, and more importantly, who is flying them? The answer might lie in a place even more secret than the fleet itself, a hidden world of corporate collaboration and compartmentalized labor. A secret war is already being fought in the shadows of our solar system, according to the whistleblower accounts. The mission profile for Solar Warden is said to be as vast as space itself, built on 3 terrifying pillars. The first and most fundamental role is planetary defense. This fleet allegedly acts as a silent shield, protecting Earth from extraterrestrial threats both known and unknown. This idea connects directly to the countless UFO and UAP reports from military pilots, suggesting these unidentified objects are not just curiosities but potential adversaries being monitored and intercepted. The second mission moves from defense to diplomacy. Whistleblowers describe complex, ongoing interactions with multiple non-human civilizations. Some of these alien groups are said to be benevolent, even sharing technology, while others are described as hostile or manipulative. This is where the concept of a galactic federation emerges, a supposed cosmic United Nations where humanity has a seat, but only through its secret representatives. Our fate as a species, the story goes, is being negotiated behind our backs by a cabal of shadowy officials and Starfleet admirals, but the most staggering claim is the third mission, all-out war. Testimonies speak of an ongoing, clandestine conflict against a hostile alien force, with battlegrounds scattered across our celestial neighborhood. Firefights are said to have occurred in the orbit of Mars, with capital ships exchanging volleys of plasma fire. Skirmishes are reported in the deep space around the moons of Jupiter, a theater of war so distant that Earth seems like a forgotten dream. This narrative paints a picture of a separate, hidden human history, one where soldiers die in silence under the rusty glow of the Martian sky, their sacrifices unknown to the billions they swore to protect. This proposed cosmic hierarchy forces a difficult question. Where does humanity truly rank? Are we a protected, infant species kept in a state of managed ignorance for our own safety? Or are we a resource, a planet of strategic value in a galactic war we cannot even comprehend? The stories of Solar Warden suggest we are not the masters of our own destiny, but pieces in a game whose rules we have never been taught. But if these ships and soldiers are real, who gives them their orders? The legal framework for such an operation is a labyrinth in the dark. The most famous law in space, the Outer Space Treaty of 1967, was signed at the height of the Cold War. Its primary goal was to prevent an arms race in the heavens, explicitly banning nuclear weapons and other weapons of mass destruction from being placed in orbit or on celestial bodies. Yet the treaty says nothing about conventional weapons. It is completely silent on the idea of battlecruisers, plasma cannons, or legions of space marines. This legal gray area is a perfect hiding place. A secret fleet armed with powerful but non-nuclear weapons would not technically violate this foundational document. This raises a profound and unsettling possibility. Did world leaders, recognizing this loophole, begin drafting a new set of rules in secret? The existence of Solar Warden implies a shadow legal system, a series of secret agreements that authorize its missions. These would not be treaties you could find in any United Nations archive. They would be clandestine pacts, potentially between global superpowers, deciding the fate of humanity without public knowledge or consent. Even more incredibly, some whistleblowers allege these secret agreements extend beyond humanity. They suggest there are treaties, or at least understandings, forged with non-human civilizations. These would be the ultimate backroom deals, determining everything from territorial boundaries in the solar system to rules of engagement in a silent war. The legal authority for a program like Solar Warden becomes a jurisdictional nightmare. Is it a United States operation, hidden deep within the black budget of the Department of Defense or the Space Force? This seems plausible given the American origins of many whistleblowers and the hacking targets. Or is it a project of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, a collective defense pact expanded secretly into the cosmos? The most staggering possibility is that Solar Warden represents a true global conspiracy, a breakaway civilization formed by an alliance of the world's most powerful nations, operating completely outside the view of their own citizens and elected governments. This would be a shadow world government with its own military, its own laws, and its own agenda for the human race. The question of who authorizes a Marine to fire a weapon on Mars is no longer just a military matter. It is a geopolitical secret of unimaginable scale, challenging the very concept of national sovereignty and democratic oversight. If such a structure exists, then every government on Earth is potentially playing a part in a cosmic drama, while the audience, all of us, remain entirely in the dark. The financial foundations of a secret space fleet would have to be as hidden as the ships themselves. We must follow the money, and it leads directly into the most shadowy part of government spending, the black budget. This is not your typical government funding. It is a river of money, often tens of billions of dollars each year, officially allocated for classified programs whose very existence is a state secret. This money flows without the public scrutiny that governs almost every other part of the budget, its final destination known only to a select few. The scale of potential misdirection is staggering. For decades, reports and audits have pointed to trillions of dollars simply going missing from the Pentagon's books. One famous report from the Office of the Secretary of Defense itself admitted it could not account for a mind-boggling $2.3 trillion in transactions. That is not a typo. Trillions with a T vanished into a bureaucratic black hole. Where does all that money go? Skeptics say it is waste and accounting errors. But what if it is something else entirely? What if that unaccountable river of cash is the lifeblood of Solar Warden, financing the construction of kilometer-long battlecruisers in orbital dry docks and the operation of a base on Mars? The sheer cost of such an endeavor would require a funding mechanism of epic proportions, and the black budget provides the perfect, untraceable vehicle. This hidden funding would not operate in a vacuum. It would flow through corporate channels to the very aerospace giants we see every day. Think of a company like Lockheed Martin's legendary Skunk Works division, the birthplace of the U-2 spy plane and the F-117 stealth fighter. These were aircraft that defied conventional wisdom, leapfrogging known technology by decades. For years, rumors and insider accounts have swirled around Skunk Works and its alleged development of radical propulsion systems, including fully functional anti-gravity vehicles. The late aerospace engineer Ben Rich, former head of Skunk Works, was famously cryptic, once telling an audience, "We now have the technology to take ET home." Was he merely being witty, or was he hinting at a truth known only to a privileged few? If such technology is real, where is it? The logical answer within this conspiracy is that it is not in public view because it is already in use, powering the silent triangles and colossal warships of a secret fleet. The connection forms a perfect closed loop. Vast sums of black budget money, impossible for Congress to track, are funneled to advanced aerospace contractors. These companies, operating under extreme secrecy, build technologies that seem like magic, which are then deployed in a program that officially does not exist. It is a system of plausible deniability built on a foundation of hidden finance, so we are left with a haunting equation. On one side, you have whistleblowers describing ships and soldiers. On the other, you have a financial landscape with gaping trillion-dollar holes and corporations with a proven history of making the impossible fly. Is this just a series of unfortunate coincidences and accounting failures, or is it the faint monetary echo of a secret space navy? Its bills paid for with money that simply does not exist on any public ledger. The silence is not just about the ships, it is about the trillions that could have built them. These technological leaps did not emerge from a vacuum. Every so often, a piece of hardware or a patent filing appears that seems to defy the smooth curve of public progress, offering a potential glimpse into a hidden world of research. The most prominent example is already flying overhead. The X-37B spaceplane is a real, unmanned vehicle operated by the United States Space Force. It looks like a miniature space shuttle, but its missions are shrouded in total secrecy. It launches into orbit and stays there, not for days or weeks, but for years at a time, performing classified experiments before gliding back to Earth autonomously. What is it doing up there for 700, 800, even 900 consecutive days? Official statements are vague, mentioning testing new materials and technologies in the space environment. But its capabilities are a perfect match for the kind of long-duration, robotic sentinel duty you would expect from a secret fleet support craft. It is a tangible, undeniable piece of hardware whose true purpose remains a state secret, a puzzle piece that fits all too neatly into the Solar Warden narrative. Then there are the patents, legal documents that read like pages from a science fiction novel. The U.S. Navy itself has filed for technologies that border on the miraculous. One patent describes a hybrid aerospace underwater craft, a vehicle capable of seamless travel through air, space, and water with unbelievable efficiency. Another outlines the principles for a room temperature superconductor, a material that could revolutionize energy transmission and storage, enabling the powerful, compact power sources a secret fleet would require. Perhaps the most telling is a patent for an inertial mass reduction device, which sounds suspiciously like the core of an anti-gravity propulsion system. Why would the Navy patent something that, according to mainstream science, should be impossible? One compelling theory is that this is a form of intellectual property warfare, a way to legally block any other country or corporation from developing and claiming these world-changing technologies. These patents are not proof of a functioning fleet, but they are a stunning admission of research intent. They are the blueprints for a technological revolution, filed away in public view, suggesting that the foundational science for Solar Warden's incredible ships is not just fantasy, but a serious, funded pursuit. This pattern of unexplained advancement extends far beyond a single spaceplane or a handful of patents. Look at the explosive progress in materials science. We have gone from basic alloys to carbon composites and ceramics that can withstand the blistering heat of atmospheric re-entry, materials whose development often happens behind the closed doors of defense contractors. Computing power has followed a similar, almost unnatural trajectory. The smartphone in your pocket is millions of times more powerful than the computers that guided the Apollo missions to the moon. While we attribute this to Moore's law and commercial innovation, one has to wonder if the true driving force, the original spark, came from reverse engineering non-human technology, as so many whistleblowers claim. These are the smoking guns in plain sight. We are told they are the results of open market competition and academic research, but their staggering pace and military origins raise a profound question. Are we witnessing the organic growth of human ingenuity, or are we seeing the careful, controlled trickle-down of technologies that have been operational in secret for decades? The public face of progress may just be the echo of a much louder, hidden explosion. Mars is a world of secrets, a rust-colored desert hiding mysteries that could rewrite our history. The stories of Solar Warden do not end in Earth's orbit. They extend millions of kilometers to a sprawling, clandestine base on the Red Planet. Whistleblowers like the enigmatic Captain K claim to have spent 17 years stationed there, describing a facility dedicated to 3 core missions. The first is scientific research, studying the planet's ancient past and potential for life. The second is resource extraction, mining rare minerals and elements too scarce or politically sensitive to acquire on Earth. The third and most startling is its role as a forward military outpost, a fortress protecting human interests in the inner solar system. These accounts describe a harsh, domed environment where personnel live and work in shifts that last for years, all in service of a program the world knows nothing about. If true, this means human boots have been crunching the red dust for decades, not as explorers in white suits, but as soldiers and scientists in a secret war. This narrative forces us to look at the official Mars missions with new suspicion. Every rover and satellite sent by NASA could serve a dual purpose. While publicly searching for signs of ancient microbial life, they might also be performing critical reconnaissance and logistical support for a hidden colony, charting safe landing zones and surveying resources for the personnel already there. The public goal is noble science, but the speculated true purpose is to maintain a pre-existing human foothold on another world. This leads our investigation directly to the most controversial place on Mars, the Cydonia region. When the Viking orbiter took its first images of this area in the 1970s, it captured a geological formation that looked astonishingly like a giant, humanoid face staring up from the Martian plains. The face on Mars became an instant cultural phenomenon, a symbol of a lost Martian civilization. Mainstream science dismissed it as a trick of light and shadow, a classic example of pareidolia, the human brain's tendency to see familiar patterns in random shapes. Yet when later, higher-resolution missions like the Mars Global Surveyor photographed the area again, the face had largely vanished, revealing what looked much more like a natural mesa. For believers, this was not proof of its natural origin, but evidence of a cover-up, a deliberate effort to debunk the anomaly with new, less revealing camera angles. The controversy did not stop with the face. Nearby, other strange formations were identified. There is the D and M pyramid, a massive, five-sided structure that appears far too geometrically perfect to be a simple mountain. There is the city, a cluster of mounds that some analysts claim are the ruined foundations of ancient buildings, laid out in a clear, organized pattern. To the skeptical eye, these are all just wind-carved hills and eroded mesas. But to those who study Martian anomalies, Cydonia is the archaeological site of a lost civilization, a place that proves Mars was once inhabited, and perhaps that its secrets are now being used by those in the know. The idea of a secret base fits neatly into this speculative landscape. Why would you build a hidden outpost on a dead world, unless, of course, it is not entirely dead? Perhaps the base is not just for us, but is situated to monitor or even exploit the lingering artifacts of a Martian past. The official story is one of a cold, dead, and utterly lonely planet. The whistleblower accounts and the persistent anomalies suggest a different reality, one where humanity is not the first to call Mars home, and where our current presence is not a public triumph of exploration, but a covert operation of immense consequence. The Red Planet may be the stage for the greatest secret ever kept. The Moon's far side holds a permanent secret, its face forever turned away from Earth. If you wanted to hide something, a listening post, a shipyard, even a fortress, this is the perfect location, permanently veiled from prying eyes. This is where the Solar Warden narrative plants another staggering claim, a hidden lunar outpost acting as the fleet's first line of defense. Whistleblower accounts describe vast, shielded hangars carved into the craters of the lunar surface, serving as dry docks for repairing and resupplying those colossal battlecruisers. From this silent perch, the entire Earth could be monitored, every transmission listened to, every launch tracked, all from a base that, by its very nature, we can never see. This idea forces a dramatic reinterpretation of one of humanity's greatest achievements, the Apollo missions. Publicly, they were a triumphant race for scientific glory. But a persistent thread of conspiracy theory suggests they were also a carefully managed reconnaissance of a preoccupied territory. Some theorists point to strange, hushed conversations between the astronauts and mission control, moments of unexplained static and coded language, as evidence that the crews saw something they were ordered never to discuss. The famous abrupt end of the Apollo program after the 17th mission has long been a source of speculation. Did we simply lose interest, or were we told, in no uncertain terms, that certain areas of the Moon were now off limits? The clues are not confined to decades-old audio tapes. Modern eyes in the sky continue to fuel the mystery. NASA's own Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter has been mapping the surface in stunning detail for years, and within its vast image archive, amateur sleuths have pinpointed what they call anomalies. There is the so-called shard, a towering spike rising from the surface that seems to defy natural erosion. There are the perfect geometric squares and rectangles that look less like random rock formations and more like the foundations of colossal buried structures. And then there are the entrances, dark, perfectly circular openings into the lunar subsurface that could be lava tubes, or could be the hangar doors for a secret fleet. The official explanation for all of these is always the same: tricks of light, camera artifacts, or the strange, angular shapes that natural geology can sometimes produce. But when you view these images through the lens of the Solar Warden theory, they form a disturbing collage. the geometric shapes become the outlines of buried facilities. The dark portals become access points to an underground network. The entire far side of the moon transforms from a barren landscape into the most strategic military installation imaginable. This is no longer our moon, a symbol of romance and mystery. It becomes a garrison, a watchtower for a secret war, its silent surface hiding an activity that would shatter our understanding of the world. What did our astronauts really see up there, and why does it feel like the full story has never been told? A secret war requires a secret enemy, a shadowy adversary whose existence justifies the immense scale and secrecy of Solar Warden. Whistleblower testimonies are not just filled with tales of human heroism, but with chilling descriptions of the hostile forces we are supposedly fighting. These are not the benevolent aliens of popular fiction. The most frequently named threat is a species often labeled the reptilians, described as tall, bipedal, and intensely militaristic. Their alleged motives are territorial and controlling, viewing Earth and its population as a resource to be dominated. Another commonly cited group are the classic Greys, but in this darker narrative they are not curious scientists. They are portrayed as cold, emotionless entities engaged in a long-term program of genetic experimentation on human beings, with abduction phenomena being a key part of their unsettling agenda. The motives attributed to these groups are universally sinister, ranging from outright planetary conquest to the slow, systematic harvesting of our biological and genetic resources. Why would such advanced beings be interested in us? The theories are as unsettling as they are simple. Earth might be a rare biological preserve, and humanity itself could be the most valuable resource in the solar system. This framework of a hidden conflict forces us to re-examine strange events from our own history through a new, terrifying lens. Take the infamous Battle of Los Angeles in 1942. Just months after Pearl Harbor, anti-aircraft batteries lit up the night sky over the city, firing over 1,400 shells at an unidentified object caught in the searchlights. The military initially claimed it was a false alarm triggered by a stray weather balloon, but the official explanation never satisfied many witnesses who saw a large, slow-moving craft that withstood a massive barrage. In the context of a secret war, this was not wartime jitters, but a genuine engagement, an early attempt by Solar Warden's precursors to repel an incursion. Fast forward to the more recent declassified Navy videos, like the one dubbed the Tic Tac incident. Pilots tracked a white, oblong object with no wings, no exhaust plume, and no visible means of propulsion. It performed maneuvers that defied the known laws of physics, accelerating and changing direction in an instant. The official stance is that these are unidentified aerial phenomena, their origins unknown. But within the Solar Warden narrative, these are not mysteries, they are the enemy. These craft are the scouts and fighters of a hostile force, constantly testing our planetary defenses, probing for weakness. When you connect these dots, a terrifying picture emerges. The secret space navy is not a paranoid fantasy, but a logical, if desperate, response to a threat we are not allowed to know about. The extreme secrecy is not just to protect advanced technology, but to prevent global panic. How would society react if it knew that our species was caught in a silent, cosmic struggle for survival, a conflict where we are not the dominant power? The existence of Solar Warden, if true, is the ultimate safeguard, a hidden shield whose very success depends on our continued ignorance. This justification forms the emotional core of the conspiracy, transforming it from a wild tale into a necessary, if tragic, secret. But a universe defined only by conflict is a lonely and terrifying place. Alongside the stories of hostile aliens, there is another, more hopeful narrative woven through the whistleblower accounts, one that speaks of allies in the stars. This is the alleged Galactic Federation, a cosmic alliance of benevolent civilizations that some claim is guiding humanity's development from the shadows. This federation is not a military power, but a diplomatic and cultural consortium, a council of worlds that has supposedly been interacting with a select group of humans for generations. Their motives, according to these stories, are not conquest but stewardship. They see humanity as a young, volatile species with great potential, but one that is also dangerously close to self-destruction or attracting the wrong kind of attention. Their primary rule is said to be a strict policy of non-interference. They will not land on the White House lawn and solve our problems for us. The theory suggests they believe we must achieve maturity on our own, earning our place in the galactic community through our own choices. So how does any interaction occur at all? This is where the secret space program shifts from a purely military operation to a clandestine diplomatic corps. High-level officials within Solar Warden, the story goes, are the designated liaisons. They are the ones who meet with these advanced beings, engaging in complex negotiations that determine the future of our planet. The subject of these talks is often a simple yet profound exchange. The Federation allegedly offers pieces of advanced technology, glimpses into physics that could solve our energy crises or heal our planet. In return, they may ask for something we have in abundance. This could be biological materials, unique genetic sequences, or even permission to monitor human development more closely. It is a cosmic trade agreement conducted in secret with the fate of our civilization as the stakes. This creates a political landscape of staggering complexity. Our secret admirals are not just warriors, they are ambassadors. They must navigate alliances with friendly species while simultaneously preparing for war against hostile ones. They are playing a game of interstellar realpolitik, where a misstep could have consequences for billions of people. The existence of this benevolent federation completely reframes the purpose of the secrecy. It is not just about hiding a war, it is about managing a first contact scenario that has been ongoing for decades, all while keeping a fragile and unprepared public completely in the dark. Are we a protected species sheltered by wiser elders in the cosmos? Or are we a bargaining chip in a much larger celestial negotiation? The silence from above may not be a shield against an enemy, but a quarantine imposed for our own good until we are ready to join the conversation. Behind the colossal ships and cosmic politics lies the most haunting element of this entire story: the human beings who may be serving in silence. Whistleblower testimonies introduce a concept so strange it sounds like the plot of a science fiction novel, the 20-year and back program. The idea is that personnel are secretly recruited, often from within the military's most elite and discreet units. They are offered a chance to serve in a program beyond their wildest dreams, but the contract is for a single, continuous 20-year term off-world. After 2 decades of service on Mars or aboard a lunar cruiser, they are returned to Earth. The most staggering claim is that their aging process has been artificially slowed or halted through advanced medical technology. They come back to a society that has moved on without them, their bodies barely older than when they left, their memories a catalogue of experiences they can never share. Imagine the psychological whiplash of such a return. You leave in the 1990s, a young soldier full of vigor. You served 20 years in a clandestine war, walking on another world, staring into the void of space. Then you are dropped back into civilian life in the 2020s. The world is alien to you, filled with new technology, new social norms, and a population that has no idea what you have endured. Your family and friends have aged 20 years while you look almost the same. How could you possibly explain your absence? How could you reconnect with a life that has moved on without you? The isolation must be profound, a loneliness that is literally out of this world. This system is a perfect, if cruel, mechanism for maintaining secrecy. By minimizing the contact personnel have with the evolving civilian world, the program ensures that no one can accidentally reveal technological or social developments that have not yet happened on Earth. A soldier returning after a single long tour has a limited window of exposure, but someone serving in shorter, rotating tours over decades would accumulate too much knowledge of the changing civilian timeline, creating a risk of a temporal slip, an unguarded comment about a future event or technology. The 20-year and back program neatly severs that connection, creating a clean break that protects the program's chronological secrecy. The physical and emotional toll of such service would be unimaginable. These are not volunteers in the traditional sense. They are individuals who may have signed a contract they could not fully comprehend. They would experience the profound trauma of combat, but without any of the support systems available to regular veterans. There would be no parades, no recognition, no ability to talk to a therapist about the things they have seen. Their trauma is locked inside, a silent scream into a void they can never describe. Their very bodies become a secret, their unnaturally preserved youth a walking, talking anomaly they must constantly hide from the world. This adds a deeply human, almost tragic layer to the conspiracy. It transforms Solar Warden from a cool story about spaceships into a potential human rights crisis of cosmic proportions. It suggests that the price of our supposed safety, or of this hidden war, is being paid by thousands of anonymous souls, living and dying in the silent dark, their sacrifices forever erased from our history books. Theirs would be the greatest secret of all, not the technology or the treaties, but the quiet, enduring cost of a war we are not allowed to know exists. This theory reaches its logical and most disturbing conclusion with the idea of a breakaway civilization. Imagine a portion of humanity, armed with technology centuries ahead of our own, quietly leaving the rest of us behind. They would not live on a different continent, but in orbital habitats, lunar bases, and secluded locations on Earth, completely self-sufficient. Their power source would not be oil or solar panels as we know them, but compact generators tapping into zero-point energy or gravitational fields. Their medicine could reverse aging and cure any disease. Their society would have its own economy, its own laws, and its own goals, all while the vast majority of us remain utterly unaware of their existence. This is not just a secret government program, it is a fundamental schism in the human story. Solar Warden, in this context, is not merely a navy. It becomes the protective military force for this new, advanced branch of humanity, guarding its assets and its borders from both extraterrestrial threats and the prying eyes of the civilization it left behind. The conspiracy then transforms from a simple cover-up into something far more profound, a silent secession. The technological gap between them and us would be so vast, it would be like our modern world trying to comprehend the Stone Age. How could you explain a smartphone to a caveman? This is the potential relationship between this breakaway group and mainstream humanity. We are the ones living in ignorance, working with outdated science and struggling with problems they solved generations ago. Why would they keep this a secret? The reasons could be complex. Perhaps they see us as a volatile, dangerous species, not yet ready to handle such power without destroying ourselves. Or more chillingly, perhaps they simply see us as irrelevant, a primitive population to be managed and monitored, while they pursue their own destiny among the stars. Our entire global economy, our politics, our very sense of progress could be an illusion, a carefully managed stage play while the real future of humanity is being written elsewhere without our input or consent. This redefines the entire mystery. We are not just asking if a secret space fleet exists. We are asking if the human race has already split in two, with one part embarking on a cosmic journey while the other remains unknowingly left on the shore. The sheer grandeur of the Solar Warden story is undeniably captivating, but it is built upon a foundation that crumbles under the harsh light of skeptical analysis. Let us pivot to a critical perspective and systematically examine the pillars of this conspiracy. Start with Gary McKinnon's famous discovery. That list of non-terrestrial officers and fleet transfers, the very heart of the legend, has a far more mundane explanation. Military and space agencies run incredibly complex simulations, virtual war games played out across digital battlefields in space. What McKinnon likely accessed was not a roster of cosmic sailors, but the personnel list for a simulation, the call sheet for a fictional conflict. The ship-to-ship transfers could easily have been the logistical data for moving crews between different ground control stations for satellite operations. A bureaucratic process made to look like something far more exotic through the lens of a hacker searching for UFOs. This pattern of misinterpretation extends to the whistleblowers. The human mind is a powerful storyteller, especially when confronted with trauma, stress, or the desire for significance. Psychologists have a term for this: confabulation. It is not lying, but the unconscious act of filling gaps in memory with fabricated details that feel real to the person recalling them. An aerospace engineer like William Tompkins, who worked on advanced projects, could have woven together classified snippets of information with his own imagination over decades, creating a coherent but entirely fictional narrative. For individuals using pseudonyms like Captain K, the motives could be even simpler: the desire for attention or the thrill of constructing an elaborate hoax that captures the public's imagination. Without any verifiable proof, their incredible stories remain just that, stories. The most powerful argument against Solar Warden, however, is one of pure practical scale. Concealing a program of this magnitude would be an undertaking far more immense than the program itself. Think about the Apollo program. At its peak, it employed over 400,000 people and required the industrial might of an entire nation. Building kilometer-long spacecraft would require thousands of specialized engineers, metallurgists, and technicians. The launches alone would be impossible to hide. A single rocket large enough to lift the components for a battlecruiser into orbit would produce a visible and audible spectacle seen for hundreds of miles, a continuous series of cosmic construction projects happening in plain sight. And then there are the people. You cannot have a secret war with secret soldiers without someone, somewhere, talking. A leak of this scale would be inevitable, not a trickle of unverifiable testimonies, but a flood of documentation, photographs, and hardware. The silence is not a sign of perfect secrecy, but the most likely indicator that the secret does not exist. The universe, it seems, is vast and mysterious enough without needing to invent a phantom navy. The true mystery may be our own powerful need to believe that we are not alone, and that someone, somewhere, is secretly watching over us. Perhaps the most compelling evidence for Solar Warden is not found in leaked files or whistleblower tales, but within the human psyche itself. This grand myth taps into a fundamental need to feel protected in a cosmos that is overwhelmingly vast and indifferent. Our tiny world, a fragile, pale blue dot, is transformed by this narrative into a strategic asset, a planet important enough to be secretly guarded by cosmic admirals. This idea soothes a primal fear, the terror of being utterly alone and defenseless in the silent dark. The story gives us a role, a purpose. We are not just random life on a rock, we are the protected citizens of a planet with a hidden shield. This need for a protective narrative has deep historical roots, stretching back to the tension of the Cold War. That was an era defined by secret projects and the genuine threat of annihilation, where the public learned to live with the knowledge that world-ending decisions were being made behind closed doors. The Solar Warden story is a direct descendant of that paranoia, simply updated for the space age. The hidden nuclear silos have been replaced by hidden battlecruisers, but the underlying feeling is the same. A powerful, unseen force is managing existential threats that are too terrifying for the public to comprehend. In this way, Solar Warden functions as a modern mythology. Ancient cultures had gods on Mount Olympus or spirits in the forest to explain the unpredictable forces of nature. Today, we have a secret space navy to explain the unnerving mystery of UFOs and the profound question of whether we are alone. The myth provides a simple, comforting answer to a complex and frightening reality. Instead of confronting the unsettling possibility that unknown objects in our skies are completely beyond our control, we can tell ourselves a story where they are merely adversaries in a war that our side is secretly winning. It replaces cosmic loneliness with cosmic significance, and in doing so, makes the universe feel a little less empty and a lot less scary. The legend of a secret space fleet did not remain confined to the dark corners of the internet. It bled into our most popular stories, subtly shaping how we imagine humanity's future in the cosmos. Look at the sprawling universe of the video game Halo. The United Nations Space Command, or UNSC, is a near-perfect fictional mirror of Solar Warden. It is a massive, militarized space navy with its own Marine Corps, operating colossal warships like the Pillar of Autumn to defend Earth from existential threats. The parallels are unmistakable, a direct translation of conspiracy lore into blockbuster entertainment. Then there is the critically acclaimed series The Expanse, which presents a gritty, realistic vision of solar system politics. The Earth fleet in that story is not an exploratory body, but a powerful military force projecting power across the planets. Its stealth ships and Martian battleships echoing the very ship classes described by whistleblowers. Even the long-running Stargate franchise revolves around a secret military program, hidden from the public, that operates advanced starships and engages in interstellar diplomacy and conflict. These are not just random creative choices, they are a collective cultural absorption of the Solar Warden mythos. The ideas of hidden treaties, breakaway factions, and cosmic soldiers have become standard tropes in science fiction. This constant exposure in movies, television, and games performs a powerful function. It normalizes the concept. When you watch a show like The Expanse, the idea of a militarized Earth fleet feels logical, almost inevitable. This fictional normalization then feeds directly back into the real-world conspiracy. Believers point to these popular stories and see not fiction, but a soft disclosure, a way for the truth to be revealed to the public in a palatable, deniable form. They argue that art is imitating a life the public is not yet ready to accept. This creates a self-sustaining loop where fringe theories inspire creators, whose work then lends a sheen of plausibility to the original conspiracy, pulling more people into the mystery. A story that began with a hacker in Scotland has now become a foundational element of our modern mythology, proving that the line between secret history and science fiction is far thinner than we might think. A profound shift is now underway, one that is pulling these fringe theories into the harsh light of official scrutiny. The United States government has moved from blanket denial to a policy of reluctant admission, creating a new landscape for this mystery. The term UAP, or Unidentified Aerial Phenomena, has replaced UFO, a deliberate rebranding to shed the stigma of little green men and bring the discussion into serious military and political circles. This new era of openness is anchored by a series of explosive, real-world events. The Pentagon officially confirmed the existence of the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, or OTIP, a multi-million-dollar government investigation into UAPs that ran for years. Even more stunning, the U.S. Navy declassified and authenticated 3 now famous videos captured by its pilots, known as FLIR, Gimbal, and Goffast. These are not grainy, distant specks. They show objects with no visible wings, no engines, and no heat signatures, performing maneuvers that defy known physics, accelerating and turning in ways that would tear any human-built craft apart. For decades, such evidence was dismissed as hallucination or hoax. Now it carries the official seal of the United States Department of Defense. This sudden transparency forces a critical question. Are these disclosures a genuine attempt to understand a mystery, or are they the first, carefully managed steps toward revealing something far larger? The existence of a program like OTIP proves that the phenomena are real and that they pose a legitimate national security concern. But what if the true concern is not the objects themselves, but the secret human response to them? Could these UAPs be the very craft, both friendly and hostile, that a program like Solar Warden was created to manage? The official story is that we are trying to identify potential foreign adversaries. The tantalizing alternative is that we are getting a controlled glimpse of a hidden conflict that has been raging for decades. The people emerging from the shadows lend startling weight to this idea. Luis Elizondo, the former head of OTIP, resigned from the Pentagon in protest over what he called excessive secrecy and internal opposition. He did not simply state that UAPs are real. He has made cryptic, deeply unsettling comments about the nature of the reality he learned. He has spoken of being confronted with information that is sobering and at times downright somber. These are not the words of a man discussing unknown drones. They are the measured, heavy phrases of someone hinting at a truth so profound it could reshape our understanding of reality itself. When pressed, he and other officials have stated that the objects exhibit technology that is not just years, but potentially thousands of years ahead of our own. This admission shatters the conventional narrative of human technological progress. If these craft are not ours and they are not from a rival nation, the only logical conclusion is a non-human origin. But if they are not ours, why do the stories of reverse-engineered alien reproduction vehicles from Solar Warden whistleblowers suddenly seem less like fantasy and more like a potential explanation? The modern UAP disclosures act like a key, slowly turning a lock on a door we were told did not exist. Each official admission, each authenticated video, each sober statement from a credible insider adds another piece to a puzzle that is beginning to look eerily familiar. The old conspiracy theory of a secret space navy no longer feels like a wild story from the internet. It is starting to feel like the hidden context for a reality the government is only now, and only very carefully, beginning to acknowledge. We are no longer just asking what these objects are. We are being forced to ask what we have been doing about them all this time. This global conspiracy could not be sustained by a single nation alone. The immense scale of Solar Warden, from its construction projects to its operational secrecy, points toward a collaborative effort that transcends earthly politics. We must turn our attention to other global powers, each with their own history of mysterious aerial phenomena and classified aerospace ambitions. Russia, for instance, has a deep and documented fascination with the unknown. For decades, even during the height of the Cold War, the Soviet Union ran its own official, albeit secretive, research into UFOs, a program they called the Institute of Noospheric Research. Their military pilots reported encounters with objects that performed impossible maneuvers, and their scientists openly studied the potential for anti-gravity propulsion. This legacy suggests that the Kremlin has long been aware that something unexplained shares our skies, and they would have every reason to develop a response, just as the theory alleges the United States did. Then there is China, the new titan of space exploration. Their progress has been both rapid and remarkably opaque. While publicly stating goals of lunar bases and Mars missions, much of their advanced space technology, especially that linked to their military, is developed behind a near impenetrable wall of state secrecy. The sudden leap in their capabilities, from reusable spaceplanes to sophisticated satellite networks, mirrors the kind of explosive, unexplained advancement that whistleblowers attribute to reverse engineering. Could their public space program be a front, a visible tip of an iceberg that conceals a fleet of their own, or perhaps their contribution to a joint endeavor? This leads to the most staggering possibility that Solar Warden is not an American program, but an international coalition. Think of it as a space-based North Atlantic Treaty Organization, a secret pact between nations that are public rivals but private partners. This would solve the conspiracy's greatest logistical hurdles. The astronomical costs of building and maintaining a space navy could be shared, divided among the black budgets of multiple superpowers. The need for absolute secrecy would be easier to maintain if every participating nation had a vested interest in keeping the truth from their own populations. Even the recruitment pool expands, drawing the best and brightest from special forces units and scientific communities across the globe, all bound by oaths of silence. Imagine the profound irony. World leaders stand at podiums decrying each other's actions and engaging in trade wars, while secretly, their top admirals and generals are coordinating patrols around Jupiter's moons. This framework transforms the conspiracy from a national secret into a planetary one. It suggests that when faced with a truly existential, non-human threat, the old divisions of map and ideology become meaningless. The real border is no longer between countries, but between Earth and everything else. The silence, then, is not just an American policy, but a global compact, a unanimous decision by the world's most powerful governments that humanity is not yet ready to learn it is a citizen of a much larger and far more dangerous neighborhood. The walls of secrecy cannot hold forever. The future of the Solar Warden story rests on a razor's edge, balanced between three possible outcomes. The first is a slow, controlled disclosure orchestrated by world governments. This would not be a sudden, shocking announcement, but a gradual drip feed of information over years, perhaps decades. Imagine a future president confirming the existence of non-human intelligence in a carefully worded speech, followed by years of scientific panels and historical reviews that gently reshape public understanding, acclimating us to a new reality without causing societal collapse. The second possibility is a catastrophic leak, the very nightmare the secrecy was designed to prevent. A single insider, a modern-day Gary McKinnon with an undeniable trove of evidence, could release everything at once. High-definition videos of shipyards on the far side of the moon, design schematics for anti-gravity drives, logs from the Mars base, all flooding the internet in an unstoppable digital tide. This would be an immediate, global shock, shattering trust in every institution overnight. The third, and for many the most likely, outcome is that the theory is definitively debunked, fading into history as a fascinating cultural artifact of early 21st century paranoia, a myth born from our fear of the cosmic dark. But if the secret is real and it is revealed, the impact would ripple through every facet of human life. Organized religions would face their greatest challenge, forced to reconcile ancient texts with the existence of other intelligent creations in the cosmos. Are we still made in God's image if there are countless other images? Political systems would be thrown into chaos. What legitimacy does a government have if it has been lying about humanity's very place in the universe for generations? Our self-image as the pinnacle of intelligent life would vanish, replaced by the humbling realization that we are merely one species among many, and perhaps not even an advanced one. This forces us to confront a profound ethical dilemma. If Solar Warden is real, is our ignorance a necessary evil? Is keeping the public in the dark a tragic but essential act to maintain global order and prevent a panic that could end civilization? Or is it the ultimate betrayal, a theft of our collective destiny by a powerful few who decided we were not ready for the truth? The silence, then, is either a shield protecting a fragile world or a prison wall keeping us from our cosmic inheritance. The final chapter of this mystery has not yet been written, and its resolution will depend on whether the keepers of the secret believe we have finally grown up enough to handle it. The digital age created a new kind of evidence, one that could be born, scrutinized, and erased in the blink of an eye. In the mid-2010s, a video surfaced on obscure corners of the internet that seemed to show exactly what the whistleblowers had been describing. It was known as the SSN Sun 2 leak. The clip was short and grainy, but its contents were staggering. Against the black void of space, a colossal, triangular craft moved with silent, deliberate purpose. It was a matte black behemoth, its angular form bristling with geometric protrusions, slowly approaching and then docking with a tubular space station that looked nothing like the International Space Station. The designation SSN Sun 2 was a masterstroke of verisimilitude, perfectly mirroring the naval naming conventions insiders had long described. Here was not just a story, but a visual artifact, a piece of the Phantom Fleet caught on camera. The online community dedicated to these mysteries went into a frenzy. Digital forensics experts and amateur sleuths alike descended upon the video, analyzing every pixel. They looked for lighting inconsistencies, studied the physics of the stars in the background, and debated the behavior of the camera. Some argued the parallax and lighting were too perfect for a computer-generated fake, that the way the starlight glinted off the craft's non-reflective surface showed a sophisticated understanding of materials that most visual effects artists would overlook. The sense of discovery was electric. It felt like the smoking gun had finally been found. Yet for every point in its favor, a compelling counterargument emerged. Skeptics and visual effects artists quickly pointed out the telltale signs of a high-quality hoax. The motion of the spacecraft, they noted, was almost too smooth, lacking the subtle vibrations or micro-corrections you would expect from a real vehicle maneuvering in orbit. The stars, upon close inspection, did not shift quite right against the blackness, a common failure in compositing computer graphics onto a real star field. The entire scene, while impressive, had a sterile, clean quality that felt more like a demo reel from a talented graphics studio than a leaked military video. The debate raged for weeks, a microcosm of the entire Solar Warden phenomenon playing out in forum threads and video commentaries. Then, as quickly as it had appeared, the SSN Sun 2 video vanished. It was systematically scrubbed from major video platforms and file-sharing sites, its digital footprints disappearing under the weight of copyright claims and mysterious takedown notices. For believers, this was the ultimate proof of its authenticity. Of course, the powers that be would erase such a damning piece of evidence. For skeptics, the disappearance was just as easily explained. The creator, perhaps fearing legal repercussions for a too convincing hoax or simply wanting to preserve the mystery, could have withdrawn it themselves. The video's brief life cycle is a perfect parable for the search for Solar Warden. It provides a tantalizing, emotionally resonant piece of evidence that feels too specific to be random. Its subsequent erasure from the internet feeds directly into the narrative of a powerful, censoring force. Yet it remains, in the end, completely unverifiable. It lives on only in screen captures and uploads, its origins murky, its truth forever suspended between what we want to believe and what we can actually prove. The story of a secret space fleet does not begin in the Cold War, but in the deep shadows of our own ancient past. To truly understand Solar Warden, we must widen the lens and see it not as a new project, but as the latest chapter in a hidden history that spans thousands of years. This narrative connects directly to the ancient astronaut theory, the idea that our planet was visited in antiquity by extraterrestrial beings. What if the advanced technology powering these phantom ships is not a recent human invention, but a recovered inheritance? The same unexplained forces witnessed in our skies today might be the very same ones that ancient cultures depicted in their art and mythology. Look at the Vimanas, the flying chariots described in ancient Indian texts like the Mahabharata, capable of incredible speed and destructive power. Or consider the book of Ezekiel in the Old Testament, with its detailed vision of a magnificent wheel within a wheel, descending from the heavens with a sound like roaring waters. For centuries, these were seen as religious allegory or pure myth. But through the lens of this connected theory, they become something else entirely, early reports of the same kind of advanced aerospace vehicles we now call UAPs. This perspective weaves a single, continuous thread through human history. The colossal, inexplicable stone structures left by our ancestors suddenly fit into a new pattern. How did ancient cultures move 100-ton blocks of stone and fit them together with laser-like precision? Places like Puma Punku in Bolivia or the foundation stones of Baalbek in Lebanon are engineering marvels that defy conventional explanations of the time. The mainstream view attributes this to sheer human ingenuity and immense labor, but the alternative theory suggests these sites were built with knowledge or perhaps even tools provided by star-born visitors. These megalithic wonders are not just tombs or temples, they are the physical echoes of a lost technological age, a time when humanity may have had a different relationship with the cosmos. This leads to a staggering possibility. What if a cataclysm, a great flood, or a planetary disaster shattered that ancient world and plunged humanity into a dark age? The advanced knowledge was lost to the masses, but perhaps it was never entirely forgotten. It could have been preserved by secret societies, passed down through generations of initiates in a whispered tradition, waiting for the day when our civilization was technically capable of understanding it again. In this grand narrative, Solar Warden is not the beginning of the story. It is the modern reclamation of that lost legacy. The secret space program becomes the current custodian of an ancient trust, using rediscovered or reverse-engineered technology to rebuild what was once known long ago. This framework ties together every piece of the puzzle: the UFO sightings throughout recorded history, the megalithic structures we cannot replicate, and the modern secret space program are not separate mysteries. They are all points on a single, unbroken timeline of hidden interaction. Our planet was never a lonely island. It has always been a point of interest, a way station, or perhaps even a colony in a much older and grander cosmic drama. The silent battlecruisers patrolling the void are not a new development. They are simply the latest sentinels on a watch that began before the pyramids were ever built. Even after piecing together every leaked document and whistleblower account, the Solar Warden theory leaves us standing before a chasm of unanswered questions. If this colossal enterprise is real, the logistics are as staggering as the silence surrounding them. Where on Earth, or more likely off it, do you construct kilometer-long battlecruisers? The launch of a single rocket is a global media event, yet we are to believe entire fleets were assembled in secret, their construction requiring orbital dry docks of unimaginable scale. The power generation alone presents another monumental puzzle. What energy source could possibly fuel faster than light travel or power plasma cannons? Our public science points to the theoretical potential of zero-point energy or matter-antimatter reactors, technologies that sound like pure fantasy, yet they would be absolute necessities for the feats described. Then there is the origin of the technology itself. Is it truly the result of decades of human ingenuity working in the shadows, or is it, as so many insiders claim, a recovered inheritance? Did we invent these wonders, or are we merely caretakers, reverse engineering gifts from the stars or perhaps even from our own forgotten past? The chain of command is another profound mystery. Who holds the ultimate authority to deploy a Marine on Mars? Is there a secret president of Earth, an undisclosed admiral who answers to no public government? The very notion challenges our understanding of power and governance, and perhaps the most haunting question of all involves the human cost. How many thousands of people are living this double life? From the engineers and soldiers to the cooks and doctors, the scale of personnel required would be immense. A second, silent civilization operating just beyond the edges of our own. These are not minor details, they are the fundamental pillars of the entire narrative. Their absence in the evidence is a void that neither believer nor skeptic can adequately fill. The enduring power of this mystery is not that it provides answers, but that it forces us to ask questions we never thought to pose about our technology, our history, and our very place in the cosmos. Our journey began with a single hacker and a list of names on a screen, and it has taken us across the solar system and back, From Gary McKinnon's accidental discovery of non-terrestrial officers to the first-hand accounts of soldiers on Mars and engineers designing kilometer-long battlecruisers, we have followed a trail of clues that is both compelling and deeply puzzling. We have seen whistleblowers step from the shadows with stories that defy belief, and we have watched as official denials clash with authenticated videos of objects performing physics-defying maneuvers. The evidence, while entirely circumstantial, weaves a narrative that is too consistent, too detailed to be easily dismissed as mere fiction. Yet the counter-arguments remain powerfully simple, grounded in the sheer, staggering impossibility of hiding an endeavor of such monumental scale. The lack of a single, undeniable piece of physical proof is a chasm that no amount of testimony can completely bridge. So where does that leave us? Whether Solar Warden is a tangible reality, its ships hidden in the black budget's infinite shadows, or a magnificent modern myth born from our deepest hopes and cosmic fears, its ultimate power is undeniable. It forces our gaze upward past the thin blue line of our atmosphere and compels us to question everything. It challenges our understanding of human history, of technological progress, and of our very significance in a universe that grows more vast and mysterious with every discovery. The story of a secret space navy, real or not, has already reshaped our imagination, so we leave you with this final thought. What do you believe is waiting for us in the dark? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the universe's greatest mysteries.